Hi, and welcome to the Virtual Propane Expo. And today I'm happy to have Tom Parker with us with Comdata. Now, Tom has been working with Comdata for years. He is one of their program managers and a subject matter expert and trainer in regards to all the features that Comdata provides. So he has it's going to really be showing us some new technology that's going to help us as a propane industry. Specifically, one of the tools that they have, which is really about putting a device that helps us dispense propane fuels to end users. And it's a mechanism for taking payments, for managing those types of transactions. And before we get in, I really want to take you in the Virtual Propane Expo so you know how to find Tom and his company. So if you go to exhibitors, go to all exhibitor booths. You know, if you want to share this video with somebody, if you're looking for how to find Comdata, you go right here, type in underneath exhibitors. You're basically going down to the trade show floor, type in Comdata, it automatically finds Comdata. You click on them and they're going to come right up. So the Comdata company right here, Comdata. And if you click learn more or contact us, it's going to take you right to their website. Of course, there's a video too that you can click on and get some more information that way as well. Hopefully this video we're doing today is going to bring some more clarity to one of the many tools that Comdata has for our industry and others. So I just clicked through to their website here. Also inside of the platform, the Virtual Propane Expo platform, you can go to presenters, and this will be underneath the past presenters. You click on that, you'll be able to scroll down to Tom and his presentation, which would be right, let me show you so you know how to find it. Right here, you click watch presentation, and you'll be able to watch this presentation right here on the Expo. So as you hear this and you realize that this is something that you would like to get more information about, this is how you're going to be able to get back in touch with Tom. So Tom, thanks for being here with us. Thanks for sharing a little bit about this, because what's going on, one of the many things that's going on in the propane industry is we're looking for ways to provide and sell more propane. And one way to do that is through autogas. And through autogas, we do need to set tanks and have a way then to manage remotely the sale of the same of that product. And I know that you and your company do a lot of different tools and have a lot of different capabilities. And a large portion of this expo is about letting the industry know the tools, the systems, the products that are out there that other companies like yourself have worked and labored on to make easy to use, reliable, secure, redundant. And so we're going to talk with you today and see if we can find a little bit more about your product, your company, and see how it helps us. But before we do that, if you don't mind, please tell us a little bit about yourself, your backstory, and how you came to be there at Comdata and the product line that you're representing today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bill. So again, my name's Thomas. I'm the program manager with Comdata. Started here about 6 years ago, came from a customer service and training background. So my favorite thing to do all day between the hustle and bustle is when I get a chance to say, hey, let's get you trained up on how to use our system, and let's figure out a way to make sure that our system is being used to its fullest and make your business easier to run. When you can come to a person and say, why are you doing things that way? I can save you hours of time with a couple reports or automation and make your business easier to run. I feel good about that. So I hope, freeing up labor and making things run smoother is something everybody can have a passion on. But I joined our company about 6 years ago, as I mentioned. I led our installation team. I've worked with our sales team. Now I'm running our specials products team. So jack of all trades, but essentially bounce between different departments. So more than happy to have a conversation with one of the propane marketers and see how this system behind me here is a great fit for their fueling operations.
This is a critical area for our industry. The auto gas, the auto fuels, it's an area that we're looking at for growth. And it's something that we're talking about from the perk perspective, the NPJ perspective, and it's something that is really be talked about a lot. We've had some presenters even in the expo talking about how to get more autogas, but you're the first that's actually showed us truly how to do it from a functionality perspective. So I'm going to go ahead and hand presenter role over to you, so you can actually then and walk us through this and show us, right? Because we have to have the right tools in place to actually execute on the sale of more autogas. So as an industry, I think that we are convinced that we can sell more propane to not just vehicles, but also even to lawn care companies. And this could be a great way for us to do that. So go, Tom, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. So the short version is that even though Comdata is primarily a fleet card company, that fleet card needs to be accepted somewhere. In doing so, we created this system behind me here, the SmartSite. It's a payment acceptor. And what this is, your drivers will walk up to this unit, swipe their card, answer their prompts on the screen, and be able to authorize your pumps to dispense fuel. We then handle all those different card types, MasterCard, WEX, whatever fuel provider card they're using, even house cards. They can just walk up and punch numbers in. And it really opens up your site's acceptance to third parties. And as you mentioned, lawn care companies, they can just pull their truck up, fuel their tanks, and use everything with this interface rather than having to walk around, find somebody to help turn on nozzles or do manual billing later.
Because some of our customers, they're doing propane and they're doing other distillates too. Does this work for other distillates also?
Yeah, we're basically fuel agnostic. So if you have propane, then you have another green fuel or a different fuel type, then our system can handle those multiple fuel types all the way to we can handle a lock on a bathroom door tied to this system. All sorts of things we can do. It's not just limited to propane, but we can handle different types of fuel. We essentially talk to pumps. So whatever that pump is spitting out, we'll be able to capture and control with this thing.
Okay, now another thing you said is that I want to make sure I get this right, because a lot of people think of Comdata as a credit card company. But does this work with all different kinds of credit cards, or do you have to have just a Comdata card?
No, it works with most major fleet cards. It works with all the major consumer credit cards. We even, very popular is to not have a card at all. We have a web portal where you could punch in your employee ID numbers or truck numbers, and then you just walk up to this system, type in their employee number, hit enter, and it'll authorize fuel that way. So even though Comdata is mostly a fleet card company, this is separate. It can handle no cards, or if the only thing you do is sell to the consumer groups with or MasterCard and Visa, absolutely. If that's all the cards you take, that's all we put in.
Okay, great. Right now, everyone's seeing my screen, and I'm showing the various different types of Comdata devices you have that would go next to the pump, and people could then pay through those. So these are going to be out there by the pump. How do they then communicate? I mean, what sort of communication gear do we need to and how does it connect up with the two things? How does it connect to the propane tank so we know how much gallons being dispersed? Number two, how does that data get sent and managed so that we know what was done, and tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, so to take it from the ground up, your pump will usually communicate either through a two-wire electronic communication or through a twisted pair in a mechanical setup through a pulser. We just need some way to capture that fuel information, and then those wires will connect to this system behind me. We've got a board inside of there that will capture that fueling information. It basically says this is how many units of fuel get dispensed whenever somebody's doing a transaction. Then we take that information and we push it through the internet to the web portal. So once we get it to the web portal, you'll be able to view that transaction and see, who is fueling, how much you're fueling. We'll cover those. We do need internet. It doesn't have to be particularly great internet. We don't need like a giant fiber optic line, although I'm sure our team would love to have that. But as long as they have internet of some sort, and just more than 56K dial-up, that's really the only communication that is a little bit different that needs to be run out to the fuel island where this thing's housed.
Okay, great. So if you would, show us a little bit about how it works.
Yeah. So let me go to our web portal here, which is called Petroliter at www.petroliter.com. Type in my username and password. Everybody who has one of these systems has a connected web portal, and it's based off the user. So well, I've got access to everything and everything. If you wanted to just have your billing person making it easy and just have access to reports, they can log in and they've got access to reporting. Same with your techs on site. If maybe they just need to turn pumps off and on, we can limit them to that. But this web portal is where we do all the interaction. So there's very little reason for anybody to actually go to the site to program something or see why a transaction failed. The main interaction you'll do is through this web portal, and you can just pull that up on your phone. It's easy and simple to use. So let me jump into one of our companies here. And first thing I want to show is that this is real time. This isn't waiting to do a batch or a download at night. It's not necessarily something that has to do an overnight job. It's all active right now. So I'll just go to our communication here and go down to one of our tools called SiteWatch. I love this tool because if you got a driver on the phone who says, hey, Bill, I'm at your site, but it's not working. I hope today there's not too many people that then have to go, all right, well, let me drive out there and see if I can figure out what's wrong with it. Instead, if you did get that driver on the phone, you can go to this SiteWatch tool. Let me load it real quick. And you can view what's going on at the site right now. So this tells me, green is always good, but down here at the bottom, I've got my 4 hoses. Nobody's authorized at the moment. Nobody's lifted the handle or dispensing fuel, but you can follow along with the driver by slamming that refresh button and really see at what point they might be having an issue. Maybe we can authorize the pump and they can lift the handle, but then we're not seeing any fuel get dispensed. That's just an example, but it shows you that we can do things now with the customer on the phone rather than trying to do a post-mortem afterward.
All right, cool. So you can actually do remote problem verification, which is nice. You said that obviously we can see into the transactions, live transactions, pull reports, and we can do all that on a laptop or a desktop. So I guess that means we can do this from at home or from the office if we want to. Is that right?
Absolutely. In fact, very popular to deconnect from the site. So rather than spending all day at the site, just keeping an eye on things, you can do that from your couch. Just
nice. Okay. Now, did you say that it's also, these sort of things are viewable on a smartphone?
Yeah, it's all web browser based. So there's no app or download. It's all based on the browser. So as long as you've got a phone with, Chrome is what I'm using here, but you could also use Internet Explorer or such. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. That's good to know, because sometimes some things don't work as well on Internet Explorer or don't they work only on Chrome. So thank you for sharing that. That's good.
So this is a pretty high level view of, okay, I can see somebody when they're fueling, but as far as I want to be able to monitor this site remotely, I don't want to just know what's going on. I want to know what went on. Another example to dive really deep is under our reports. We've got like 80 reports in the system that do everything from monitoring your flow rates to viewing, out of paper receipt categories and alerts. But this transaction reports helps you see a bit more about what that driver is doing. So say you had that same driver show up and he says, something wrong. I don't know what it is. You can also follow along with them here. Let me just pull up the last 7 days. Let me look at my good and bad transactions. Reason being, I'm sure it's not too often you get someone to call in and say, hey, Bill, I was just at your site. I got fuel. Thanks. We all know it's those people that have issues that are going to be making those calls, and hopefully they do call rather than just waiting until you have like your 10th or 15th driver go through with the problem. So as I load those last 7 days here from one of our lab units, we'll be able to see that type of data. And this can also be exported out through our portal. So if you're more comfortable with downloading data and popping it into a back office software for your QuickBooks or accounting purposes, you can also do that. It's got all the way from A to BW in terms of data columns. I was hoping that would load by the time I finish that spiel.
One of the things that is a hot button in our industry is automation in our industry right now, we're trying to automate things. We're trying to eliminate work activities through automation. We're trying to eliminate paperwork. And we're trying to increase gallons without increasing our workload. And so a buzzword that's going on in our industry and maybe in a lot of others, I think it is Internet of Things, IoT. And so when I look at what you're doing, it seems to me that your application, your product is almost like an IoT, Internet of Things solution where you're taking a dumb pump and turning it into a smart pump. And you're taking the pump and you're basically automating the process of payment processing through these pumps for any fuels. And you're making it so that remotely we can manage the payments or manage the product, manage the actual pump itself. And that's kind of the direction that we're trying to go as an industry. So in my opinion, for those that are the audience that's listening to this would fall into an IoT perspective on things. It's the direction we're trying to go in our industry to reduce costs and increase sales. So, and maybe it's a stretch to call it part of the IoT, but you tell me.
Well, we had someone the other day, they had a terminal fuel yard where it was just their own drivers getting fuel out of a pump. And we discovered, talking to this fuel site, that what they did is they had a clipboard out at the pump that they just nailed to a post there. And what they were doing was every time someone fueled, they would write down, their truck number and how much fuel they got. Then someone would go get that clipboard, type it all into Excel, and then they would take that Excel spreadsheet and then upload it into another system. And we're going, okay, how much time are your drivers? How much time is your back office people? And then we had this Excel spreadsheet that was from like 1997 that was just way too large. We're like, hold on, let me show you this. So we showed them this report here, and we basically said, you don't have to do that. Right here, you've got your basic date and time, got how much fuel was dispensed, along with how much dollars were charged if you're charging anyone. And then just scrolling to the right, we can capture those things like the vehicle number, and there's an odometer or any other customized questions. And depending if it's a unit like this one here, if you really had to get into it, we even take a snapshot of the person who's fueling out of a pinhole camera. So things like that, we can really just dramatically reduce the amount of just manual processes people have to do for that very reason.
Okay, so it's a combination payment portal and a payment processing solution that can be managed remotely, that can control all of our remote fuel stations and reduce and collects all the data and then turns it into a reporting processing system that we can then download the information and even upload it into our back office systems, right?
Correct. And
Awesome.
We take it one step further. So we capture all of those pieces of information, all the way down to what the person was typing into the system. And we take those and we set up reporting, because one of the real definers of why our system is different than everything else is that we're proactive with all that big data. So, if I were to ask the general public, how do you even know if your gas station is fueling? How do you know that if someone were to pull up and try to get propane, that they're even able to get anything at all? So we take this sort of bulk data and we actually set up various different alerts to tell you when you have an issue. So going down here, and click on this event categories, and we can tell you things like one of your dispensers is offline, or somebody's put the pumps in standalone mode to bypass the card reader, various different things like that. And these are all customizable depending on the situation. So another popular one is we get it from other green fuel stations all the time. They've got that e-stop button because nobody wants fuel pooling on the ground or anything. So drivers shows up, they start leaning on a column somewhere while they're fueling, they hit the e-stop and the whole site shuts down. So we can actually set up alerts to tell you had power fluctuations or we've lost connection to the unit, so that if that is a common problem and you can't put a glass shield in front of that button, then at least your site's down before 3 days later when you realize, wow, I haven't gotten any sales or anything from that site. We've told you in advance that there's a problem, so you fix it before the driver's affected.
Yeah, and then you also have that security camera thing, which I forgot too. So that's another added feature, which is pretty nice.
All the time, if there's any potential fraud, that helps shut down that argument real quick on, I don't think my driver was there that week. No, he did. He says he wouldn't go to your site. Well, here's a picture of him. So, kind of hard to dispute that portion. Happens as well. Somebody, just the other day, they tried to do the same, saying, I go there twice a week, but I got 5 transactions. What happened? We pull those pictures up, but, sure enough, that same card, you've got this grizzled trucker with a big wizard beard, and then you've got this young kid. And we're like, okay, these are not the same people. So we sent that to the fleet manager, and he said, you know what? I'm sorry. That's my boy. Yeah, I guess he was borrowing my card. Things like that. We help solve those arguments real quick.
There you go. All right. So your company mainly has been mostly working across the southern half of the United States. Is that right?
Yeah, we're actually in every state. It's
Okay.
just we're a Tennessee-based company, so it's easy to drive from here. But primarily west and southeast is where we see most of our users. But we also have a big presence up in the Pennsylvania, Michigan area as well. So it's nationwide, but there's obviously a southern-based company. We see a lot of people visiting us here just to check out our product, or we're just closer and we can make the drive.
All right. Your company's been around for 45 years in payment innovation, transportation, financial services, using tools like this to help serve the fuels industry. About how many users do you think you have on these different platforms?
The users, it'd be in the tens of thousands for sure. We've got about 5,000 units out there. So you can find us at a lot of Pacific Pride and Commercial Fuel Networks and Independence and other green fuel sites. But we got about 5,000 of this particular generation. And then, we're based off of, we're Comdata. We've been around for 50 plus years, but we're basing this system off of another company called E-Fueling Technologies, who really pioneered that we acquired back in 2014. And they had another about 10,000 units out in the field, just legacy pieces of equipment. So it'd be hard to keep track of all of those, but at least this generation, internet connected, is about $5,000 of systems that we're monitoring today through this web portal.
Awesome. Okay. So anyone out there looking to increase your auto gas propane, you need you need a tank. You already got those. You need a dispenser. You might have that. Now you need this piece right here to automate the payment processing, bring safety and reporting, and doing it all remotely. So you can put those auto gas stations all over the place. So this one of the many critical pieces that you need is right here. So thanks, Tom, for showing us that to us. So to wrap it up, how would they get in touch with you and get more information about this?
Best way is to reach out to our sales team at 1-800-833-8680, and they can contact you. Visit us at the booth and give us your email or give us a call from there, the Virtual Propane Expo booth here. You can reach out to me directly. It's T. Parker, my name, at comdata.com. But definitely encourage you to check out everything we have at the booth. And we'll make sure that's set up easy for one of our sales reps to contact you. But honestly, if you have a real creative solution, or you think, I have a problem, I'm not sure how this system can solve for it, just let us know. And we love to have those conversations with the different propane marketers to see how this can make running your business easier so you can focus on servicing those drivers.
Awesome. Thanks for saying that last part too. Because one of the things that I noticed about Comdata, and you'll notice this too when you go to their site and when you talk with their team, they're so deep in this that they know how to customize what they have to meet the needs that you have. So, or they already have customized something like that for one of their other 5,000 users. So they've seen a lot of different use cases. They probably have found a use case for what you're looking for. So give them a call and they'll help you figure that out. And that's a really cool story right there. So, hey, Tom, thanks so much for being with us here in the VP. I really appreciate your support to our expo, to the industry, as really this whole expo is all about serving the industry. So thanks a lot for serving the industry and for helping us out. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Bill.
Appreciate it. Thanks again. That's it, a wrap for this presentation on Comdata on the Virtual Propane Expo. Thanks a lot. Please go visit the other vendors. Visit the Comdata Expo booth and join us and check out the other presenters as well. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.